Let's bring in our political contributor, Chris Uhlmann. And Chris, your reflections on what you saw there from the Prime Minister, some of the points that Andrew and I discussed as well in relation to being unable to get on the phone even to Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump's made up his mind, right? He's not going to give exemptions to anyone. And I think the thing that we have to get our head around, it's as Andrew says, much greater than steel and it's much greater than aluminium. It will be everything in the end. But that's because Trump is overturning the world order as we have understood it for the last 50 years, which is based around free trade. Because he doesn't believe, and not just him, but the people around him, including his Treasury Secretary, and these are not stupid people, that the bargain for the United States did not work. They got cheaper consumer goods, they got higher profits for some companies, but they offshored all of their manufacturing. And when push came to shove, they didn't have the grunt that they needed in order to run the things that they needed to run inside their own economy. They saw their societies collapse as manufacturing was offshored. They want to rebuild America. When he says make America great again, when he talks about energy dominance, that's the bargain that he'll make. Now, he knows, and he keeps saying that, this money comes from other countries. Of course, it comes from the US taxpayer. But the bargain that he's going to make is that he will deliver much cheaper energy into the United States, and those two things will offset each other. So he will drag manufacturing back into the United States based around the fact that if it's not made there, then it's going to be expensive to make it outside there, and that energy will be cheap in America. Australia has to control the things that it can control in this environment. It cannot control the President of the United States or the people around him. A lot of thought has gone into this. What we need to look at is our own arrangements, our own energy costs, our own labour costs. We need to be as competitive as we possibly can be, and we need to start making a few more things here.
The idea that this is an aberration with Trump is flawed as well, isn't it? In the sense that in 4 years from now, a presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, will likely be the standard bearer for the Republican Party. And he's not going to have any great shift away from this either. So even if the Democrats were to win in 4 years, to me, there doesn't look like there's any sign of this worldview, of this upturn of the chessboard, so to speak, of the trade rules and the rest of the rules of the road, that there's going to get any great shift for the Republicans.
But Kieran,
for the foreseeable
you're dead
future.
right. People are missing the message. So what happens with Trump is he loses office. And in some ways, that's the best thing that could have happened to Conservatives in the United States, because they spent 4 years, the Heritage Foundation spent 4 years working out an agenda for Trump when he returned and putting in place a whole lot of people who would be loyalists to the president once he did return. Now, the problem he's got is he's going like at a bull at a gate at the moment, trying to do everything at once. There undoubtedly will be, if he continues on the path that he's on, a recession in the United States. But by the way, they have factored that in. If they're going to do a recession, they want to do it in the first year. They want to do it before they go and have the congressional elections in 2 years' time. If you're going to do painful things, you do them now. The bargain they'll make with the American people is that we will return manufacturing to the United States, and although prices might rise, your standard of living will rise because America's economy will begin to thrive. Now, they might be wrong about that, but there is method in what they're doing, and if we don't understand that, then we're completely misunderstanding the situation. Telling the Americans that this is going to hurt your consumers, they know that.
Chris Uhlmann, great to get your insights as always. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Kieran.